If it
Well, praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to On Point, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, coming to you live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device at David G. Evans, the number one. That's at David G. Evans, the number one. So glad that you've joined us once again. Won't you like us and subscribe to us? Share, invite some people to join us today. Give us that thumbs up, if possible, on whatever platform you're watching us on. We want to welcome you to what's going to be another stimulating conversation, always based in faith, biblically based, but touching on all those things, all those concerns that you and I have in the world that's going on around us. So we talk about faith, of course, in politics and sports, talk about culture, we talk about current events, both regionally, nationally, and internationally. But like the sons of Issachar, we need to understand the times according to the Bible, understand the times, and then know how to react, know what to do. So the Bible is so replete in its ability to be an ancient word, but like God, it's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. In other words, the wisdom of the Word of God not only applies to the past and the present, but to the future. So we would love for you to join us in our conversation today. We have a toll-free number. You can give us a call from anywhere, 866-743-8267, 866-743, 8267-866-74 Evans. You can give us a call. We love talking to new callers. Of course, our legacy callers call in from around the country. Occasionally, we'll have one call in from around the world. We understand our audience flows as far as Iran and Iraq and Germany, Spain, South America, of course, all of the United States, and even some listeners and watchers in Asia follow the ministry. So we're glad you're with us today. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. Our world-famous co-host, Reverend Nicholas A. Smith, is with us today. How you doing?
I'm good. Good morning.
Hey, man. We were both burning oil last night, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, trying to get ready for this thing, man. I'm really excited about this Secrets of Success thing.
Yeah, it's on you. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I hope we can get to the art of negotiation on Sunday. Jesus gives us a very profound lesson on negotiating.
How to talk,
Yeah, how to do it.
Yeah, he's good at it now.
Oh, yeah.
They try to trap him. He just finds ways to.
Yeah, I found a scripture that most people wouldn't see as a negotiation.
Okay.
But it is.
Okay.
There's so much going on in the country right now. I'm wondering, we've talked about in the past couple shows how I'm wondering what the Republicans are thinking about doing so many drastic things to their constituents with a midterm coming up. And either they believe that people are still going to vote the way they want them to vote, even though they're going to take away 13 million people's health care and mess with Social Security, and do they believe that? Or are we seeing some sanity because that bill that they were trying to push through got blocked by their own people? What do you think?
Well, two things.
Okay.
There's two sides of the conservatives that blocked that bill.
Okay.
One that thought the cuts weren't deep enough, so they wanted to be more.
No.
Yes, yeah. And then there's another group that said this is too much. We can't cut this much out.
What else do they want to take from people?
They want to cut down on the Medicare, all the social service stuff, all the social service stuff.
Purely because they need money for this tax cut.
Yes. Yes.
For like the top 1% of the country.
Yes. Because like we talked about last time, the last cuts in 2017, we get a tax break. The middle class people, we didn't get much of a break at all.
There was no tax break.
You don't tell me $30 a check. Now, for some people that are impoverished, that
was significant. But
majority of people,
they messed that up at the store.
Yes. But
some people buy that in lottery tickets.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Go to Chick-fil-A for a family.
Yeah.
That's
More than $30.
More than $30. But I think they're looking at like people like McConnell and all them, poorest states in the country.
Yes.
But get elected every single cycle.
Which amazes me. Because from the outside, when I look at Kentucky, and then being one of the poorest, if not the poorest state in the nation, how do the people keep electing him? He's been in office, what, 25, 30 years?
Yeah, a long time.
And he's not bringing benefit to the state. Why? Is that Lyndon Johnson thing so that strong?
Yes, it is that strong. It is that strong. As long as he does these two things, then, we'll deal with the rest.
And those two things are what?
Just abortion, and let's keep, all these extremes, fringe like the LGBTQ and, the racial thing, keep that where we want it to be, and we're fine with it.
But you know what's really weird? If I'm looking at, let's say LGBTQ, I think there's some other letters now, but that's like 1% of what, 300 million people? Why am I over the top for less than 1%? And I've never been on a team where and my children have never been involved in a team where the boys were trying to be forced to play football with the girls. Where I mean, it just doesn't happen like that.
No. But they hype it up so much. Like they ran the whole trans thing. It was huge in this election.
Yeah.
When, like you said, the percentage is so
It's
small,
so small,
minuscule.
it's insignificant.
But it's that fear of they're going to do this to your kids and they're going to...
Well, here's the problem I have, Pastor Nick. It goes without saying that most neighborhoods have a diverse population in them. Some of that diversity is obvious. Some of it is not. Do you think there are actually people that believe they don't have any homosexuals or transsexuals in their neighborhood?
Yeah.
And are those people breaking into your homes? Are they, is it the worst looking house in the neighborhood? Usually not. So just the presence of people that are a little different than us, but then here's the problem I have. How do you consider yourself an evangelical and you're so restrictive as it relates to people?
Yep.
Where's the Jesus in that? And is it, okay, perhaps they don't know the difference between accepting someone and agreeing with them. Yeah. I can accept you and not agree with you all day long.
Absolutely. Yep. Their thing is, and this is big in that movement, our job is to get you to Jesus in heaven. Everything else in between, you're pretty much like the social stuff. Okay. You're pretty much left on your own. They don't do a lot of social teaching.
Why?
It's their whole thing is this goes back to.
Go ahead.
This goes back to like the 1800s. And this is why eschatology is so big in their group. Okay. A lot of black people, it's not, because we're trying to survive day to day. Right. So those are eschatology, end time stuff. What they did was they tied eschatology to evangelism. Yeah. So we don't have time to help these black people get freedom in the country, because our main focus as a church is to get people saved. And if we focus on this, it's going to take away from, watch this, evangelizing the world, because we want Jesus to come back faster.
Are you serious?
I'm not lying to you. And because they take the scripture where once the gospel reaches all places of the world, that's when Jesus is coming back. So they believe that they have a role in hastening the Lord's return. Okay. And this is why you have preachers saying, we need to raise money so I can get a jet, so I can go preach the gospel in different places of the world. Okay. And the eschatology is end time, y'all. That whole concept is, we don't have time for this. We need to get you to heaven and get saved. So we're okay with you being a slave. We're okay with you having no civil rights.
But that's not Jesus' model.
It's not Jesus' model.
But it's a carve-out to justify, watch this, all the pools of Bethesda. Yes. Populations that we've pushed out of sight that we no longer have to be concerned about, and let them take care of themselves, let them die and perish in their own situation. But that's not our business. Our business is just getting people saved.
That's it.
So once again, people are more pro-born again than they are pro-eternal life, in the sense of eternal life is a quality of life.
Yes.
While you're here. Wow. What Bible is that out of?
And they take it and they skew everything to justify their lack of empathy, their lack of care. You've had people, even in the past few months, talk about how empathy is a sin.
How?
Thank you. And I'm like, how are y'all doing these mental gymnastics to come up with this?
They need something to justify their lack of concern, which justifies their lack of compassion, which moves compassion to a theory rather than an action.
Yes.
The same Bible I read, you read, that they read says Jesus was moved with compassion. That his compassion caused him to do something. Not ignore. Compassion can't be something I check off. Yeah, I had compassion. Thoughts and prayers are with you, especially if I have the ability to do something about your situation.
So it I kind of went on a sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I kind of went into like a little research thing on this.
Yeah.
So John Calvin is this great theologian that the Protestant movement really has hinged on. And Calvin's view of God is judge first, right?
True.
John Wesley, who started the Methodist Church,
right?
God is lover first.
Right.
So out of a lot of the evangelical Protestant movement is God is judge first. That's when they talk about Calvary, it's all about wrath and God's attitude towards sin, rather than the Wesleyan model, which I agree with more, is love first.
Right.
And out of love, judgment flows.
So how do they track Jesus? John comes along. We'll use John the Baptist as an example. He comes along as a full representation of Old Testament. Jesus comes along and says John was a forerunner, but John is penultimate, next to last.
Yes.
Jesus is ultimate. So how do they not see the migration from the legalism, the judgment first, to Jesus come along and put it in grace and love first?
Yeah.
How do they miss that?
Well, because it...
or does it justify... Okay.
It justifies their own thing.
Okay.
And those of us who teach and preach, and we teach this here, you have to be careful not to put your bias in Scripture.
Absolutely.
And a lot of preachers put their issues in their biblical interpretation.
The strength of their emotion justifies their doctrinal position.
Yes. So if I'm self-judgmental, then God has to be as judgmental about other people like I am to myself.
So Calvin never got past John the Baptist. Wesley... got past John the Baptist. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, so Calvin, he'll teach you on love, but judge first.
Because John was harsh.
Yeah,
he was harsh.
Versus God is a loving God, and out of his judgment flows from his love. If God is love, then when he judges, it's an act of...
But he's balanced.
He's balanced. It's like a parent. I can be mad at my child, but my discipline stems more from love than...
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Condemnation.
Than condemnation.
Yeah. Where's the... I guess I keep asking the same dumb question.
I know.
There is therefore now no condemnation. That's what the book says. So what do they do with that?
Yeah.
Ignore it?
Well, that's all about, just salvation, once God delivers of your sin. That's why you're seeing such this modern day evangelical movement reminds me of old school apostolics and Pentecostals with that harsh judgment. Yeah. They just package it a little different.
Yeah. Because you have, and when we've talked about the pro-life situation, and you brought up the pro-fetus, not actually pro-life. So this takes on the same principle. I'm all about you getting born again, but I don't care what happens to you after that. That's amazingly silly. And it's not, when I was in prison, did you come see me? When, social service programs. When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I needed clothes, did you put them on me? How can Jesus come along and say, this is part of my kingdom mission? And we as Christians decide that, they can take care of themselves.
Yep. Because the church's job and individuals to do, not.
Like but they're part of the church.
Yeah, they even took Matthew 25.
Okay.
And I've heard a famous black preacher say this that you are an acquaintance with.
Okay.
That Matthew 25, the whole you feed the hungry, feed the poor, and that's God talking about the nations. He's not talking about you as an individual helping.
That's silly.
Hand to God.
That's silly. And you say I know him? I'm embarrassed to know.
One person you know.
I'm embarrassed to know.
But a lot of this stuff on Netflix, if you watch this show called The Family, and what it does is it takes the evangelical movement, and their model is more David than Jesus.
So if I was to ask these people that we're talking about, did Jesus minister to marginalized populations? How would they answer?
They would agree with you and say yes, but only to a certain, like they'll come give you a sandwich, they'll come evangelize to you.
Yeah.
But me kind of, like, you know how we look at things in a full circle.
Yeah.
We're not only trying to feed you, but
Right.
let's kind of get you housing.
Absolutely.
Let's get you.
Absolutely.
They don't look at the full circle.
Until they need it.
Yes, because it's your individual responsibility to pick
So
yourself
when
up.
they need it, then that's a new God to them.
It's full circle, yes.
Somebody ought to be helping me.
Yes. But when it's somebody else, it's pull yourself up by the bootstraps. My job is just to...
866-743.
It's deep.
8267-866-743. 8267. That's a different kind of love, and it's not the love Jesus is talking about. It's a different kind of compassion. They're talking theoretical love and theoretical compassion that requires no personal involvement. That's what you're describing to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tell you what, and that's how they got Trump. Because if you watch the family thing, they've been waiting for somebody that they can pinpoint this strong. Because our view of Jesus is strength, but also
Ain't
love
no
and
Jesus
sensitivity.
there, though.
I know. Their view of Jesus is just muscular, coming with a sword and, coming to destroy his enemies. But the problem is, when I determine who God's enemies are in the sense of this, like we think if I don't like somebody, you shouldn't like the person too.
Well, that's not right.
Their thought is if they're my enemy, they're God's enemy too.
Okay.
So now if I don't like the LGBTQ crowd,
God must not like them
God
either.
doesn't like them as much as
So
I do.
God doesn't love them. He may not agree with them, but he does accept the fact that they exist.
Yes. And loves them just because he's God, but not like,
866-743, 8267-866-743, 8267. We got Derek from Camden. We got Jay from Delaware. We got Tom on line 4 from Florida. Let's go to Derek. How you doing, Derek?
Hey, how you doing, Bishop?
Doing great.
Derek.
It was good to see you, man.
Yeah.
You're doing really
Good
well.
to be seen.
You're doing really well. Welcome to On Point. For those of you that don't know Derek, perhaps you haven't heard his story. He was hit by a car several months ago, almost lost his life. They did not think he was going to walk again. He was having some paralysis in his arm and in his back, and we prayed for him. God began to heal him, and on Sunday he was in church and looking good and sounding good. He said, I can stand up, Bishop. He stood up, started moving his fingers around because God had begun to heal. But we decreed on air that God was going to heal him, and he's watching God do it as he also does his part. So we really, really praise God for Derek's deliverance, man. I see you brought some friends with you on Sunday, man.
Yeah.
They
I brought some friends with me.
They from the same rehab you're in?
No, mom was my brother and mom was my sister.
Okay. It was great to see him. Great to see him. What's on what's on your mind this morning?
I would just like to thank y'all and thank God that I'm on my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were sitting all the way in the back to the left. But I just want to thank y'all a whole lot.
Well, we appreciate you, man. It was good seeing you.
Yeah.
I'll see you. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow and bring your friends with you.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right.
Talk to you again.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye. We got Jay from Delaware. Hey, Jay, how are you? Jay?
Hello.
Hey, Jay, how are you this morning? Welcome to On Point.
Good morning, Bishop.
Hey.
Good morning, Pastor. How are you?
Doing great, man. What's going on in
It's been a
Delaware?
while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. You good?
I'm not even in Delaware anymore.
Where are you now?
I am in Phoenix.
Okay, you moved your business
So
there?
usually I don't get to hear you guys because it's 6 o'clock in the morning over here, and
Okay.
I'm usually still with the angels and Jesus. But I'm traveling today, and I got to hear you. But we're talking about midterm elections.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be the most historic midterm election since 1994.
You believe so?
And I can say that because, we've talked before, I attend Republican events all over the country.
Okay.
Not necessarily as a Republican, but because I need to know what the opposition is talking about and what they're doing.
I agree with you 100%.
And if you look at West Virginia, there's already grumbling. Because with Doge and everything that happened in the past 150 days, 130 days, however long it's been, West Virginia has been hit hard.
Yes.
By what the Republican Party is doing.
Absolutely.
Massive loss of jobs. There have been articles and stories through newspapers and television media of these people who voted for Trump and are like, wait a second, what happened? Our industries are gone.
Yeah.
Jobs gone. Livelihoods gone. And it's going to show up. And we're also heading towards a constitutional crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two schools of thought. You have those who are probably not going to vote the way they voted 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have those who think that Trump is going to try to stay in office. And so everything's going to be okay. That's their thought.
Well, I think you're right, Jay.
And
it's mind-boggling to me.
I can't hear you that well. Can you hear me?
I said it's mind-boggling to me. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's that the Republicans have been behaving in such a way as they have, knowing the primary was coming, and even at the height of what I would call a lack of productive thinking, they're trying to do more of the same before the midterms. So I wonder, Jay, if, and I know this may be cynical, is there some benefit coming from those they're trying to take care of? Monetary benefit. Is it large enough for them to betray the people that voted them into office?
Oh, of course it is.
Okay.
We're talking about the top 1%. The wealth in the world is held by the top 3%, right? That's the number.
Right.
And if that 1% is maybe 2% is here in the U.S. and it's beneficial to them. Look at everyone who was kind of on that progressive move prior to, and we're talking about CEOs of Facebook and Amazon and all of the big tech companies who traditionally voted to the Democratic Party.
Right.
And then their politics shifted in the last year to be Trump supporters. Zuckerberg and Bezos and Elon Musk. And well, Elon Musk that's a whole other conversation in of itself. But even he might turn because he's seeing that's why the split, the schism between him and Trump happened so quickly because Elon Musk's like, wait a second, these terrorists, they're going to kill my business. Well, and we already see what's happening with Tesla.
But you know, Jay, I thought that the break took a lot longer than I thought it would. I thought it would happen sooner. But I wonder, so Zuckerberg and all those heads of those companies, they're single votes. Mm-hmm. The only other thing that would move our president is if they made some financial commitment to him. Mm-hmm. Not the nation, not building factories, but to him.
Yep.
And I saw a commentator a day or two ago that actually said the reason that our president's motives are not bad is because he's doing everything in front of us. They said it on national television.
Well, he's always been an upfront guy.
Yeah, but that should be the reason that you make a different decision.
Right, thank you. And so I'm like, that sounds I'm like, maybe I heard that wrong.
To me, okay, you show me who you are. What's that? You know a tree by the fruit that it bears?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're showing me your fruit, I can make a decision about you.
He
Yes.
doesn't care. Donald Trump cares about him and him alone.
Well, the care gene's not there, Jay.
He could care less about all of it. It's all how it benefits him.
Wow.
We're getting ready to have this military parade in July.
Why?
Which costs money.
It's costly. It's probably these tanks and I served in the military. I know the damage some of these things do to the streets and to the general infrastructure are going to destroy the streets of D.C.
Yep.
But it's all about him, and it's happening on his birthday.
They're doing a dictator's parade? Is that what they're doing?
Yep.
Yes.
Going to cost
On his
millions
birthday.
of dollars. Now, mind you, they're supposed to be cutting money.
But here's the problem. Here's the contradiction or the lack of continuity. Okay, you're cutting all of these programs, but you're going to increase the debt by $5 trillion over the next 3 years.
Yep.
$5 trillion.
Donald Trump doesn't care about debt.
Well, Republicans don't care about it. But I think he's getting a little pushback because a couple of conservatives are saying, how can we say we're saving money and raising the debt ceiling by $3 to $5 trillion in the next 3 to 5 years?
It's all on paper for him. It's not. It just matters how it looks. He's already said. I mean, you read any of his books, he'll tell you, I'm not afraid of debt. Look at his businesses through the last 25, 30 years. He's not afraid of debt.
Well, no, he threatens banks with debt. And what I learned that he does is if they're getting ready to foreclose on him, he says, I'll just let it all go and you guys will have to eat the problem.
There you go.
So you better give me some more money.
He's going to try to get it, but like I said, we're heading towards a constitutional crisis.
But Jay, let me ask you a question, Jay. So say for instance, by some weird occurrence, you couldn't pay your car note. So you're going to call the person that is holding the car note and saying, you guys are going to have to, give me some more money, or you can just take the car. They're coming to get your car, right?
They're coming to get my car.
Okay.
That's I'm like,
So that's not going to fly anywhere else.
Oh, that's why he had to go to Deutsche Bank across
Threatened
overseas
them.
to get more money.
And they gave him more.
Because the people over here weren't giving
They
them.
weren't giving him money.
Ah, okay.
And then when you put Deutsche Bank in a bad place, you guys got $750 million in debt with me. So you're either going to give me more money than I want, or I'm going to let the whole thing go, and you guys are going to have to eat $750 million. What do you think they did?
They gave more money.
Okay.
Listen, he doesn't care.
Jeez.
And he shows you who he is, and people and that's why people like him.
So
because he is who he is. He doesn't change. He's not.
Absolutely.
Nothing about Donald Trump has changed in the last 25 years.
Absolutely. Jay, so you're in Arizona now?
I'm in Arizona trying to. I'm offboarding. I'm trying to get out of the United States.
There are people trying to get out.
Are you living in Phoenix now?
I'm living in Phoenix, but I have for the last 4 years have been building and setting up an infrastructure in Nigeria to make that my home.
When do you plan on doing that?
I believe in you. I've established a business there. I was there in February to start the building on my home. I'm going today to do some more stuff with the house and the land and the property that I bought, and meet with a couple of my managers for the 2 locations that I've opened.
Okay.
And hopefully 2-3 years.
Well, maybe in February I'll be in Phoenix, so hopefully maybe we can get together.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm out there. I'll get the date. I can't remember, but I'm out there. Usually I try to go every February to a conference that I attend. I'm out there for 4 days, and I try to see a couple people out there that I know. I'm always at the sanctuary at Camelback.
Sanctuary Camelback. Okay, I know what Camelback is.
Yeah, it's close to Scottsdale.
Trying to navigate this place is, and it's already hot, and we've already hit 105 degrees.
Have you?
Jeez.
Yeah, last weekend it was all in the hundreds. And the crazy thing, I was out of town for 3 months. Like I said, I went overseas. I got back 2 weeks ago, got stuck at the train station. It was like 32 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Cold, freezing cold. I'm in shorts and sneakers and freezing cold. And then a week later, it's 105, 110 degrees.
Well, but they say there's no climate change.
Yeah, I know.
But they say there's no climate change.
Yeah.
And right now, it's relatively cool for this early in the morning, but there were days last summer, 3 o'clock in the morning, it was 105 degrees.
Now, your business is, I can't remember what your business is, Jay.
Retail.
That's right.
Retail.
I do retail clothing, shoes, accessories, and I've developed a following in Nigeria and Ghana and in Kenya.
Okay, my next question was why Nigeria?
So in 2020, I did an ancestry DNA test.
Okay.
And found out I was overwhelmingly, and I knew nothing about this, overwhelmingly Nigerian.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly, like 77%.
Wow, that's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, that's overwhelming.
Like,
that's overwhelming.
And I said, wait, so and I'd been to the country before, but never really kind of took any interest. And then I started I visited right after the pandemic, and the people embraced me, and I've met people, and some of the politicians and some of the business people there, and I have really been embraced. They've even given me a Yoruba name that I'm part of that culture.
Okay.
And so I said, you know what? I love it here. The people love me. I'm making money here. Let's go. The United States has nothing to offer anymore.
Yeah. I believe it does, but I understand why you're doing it.
It's something different, but the United States still has something to offer. I just think the direction that we're going in, it leaves a lot to be desired for the black community as a whole.
I think one of the advantages you have, Jay, is that relationally you're strong. You're going to add positive things to the culture, and it's just unfortunate that I hear the discouragement in your voice, but I understand it at the same time.
If you're even here in Arizona, it's different. It's different than the East Coast.
Absolutely.
For sure. And you can see some of the things that are going on here since the last election, even with the ICE,
well, let me ask you a question about that before we let you go. When I was there in February, the Hispanics, Latins, Mexicans did not seem to be afraid at all as they navigated the city. Is that the impression you've gotten?
They don't seem to be afraid, and I want to say it's because a lot of the businesses here, and probably people who would align with Trump, know that this is their bread and butter.
Absolutely. That was my conclusion also.
There are signs in some of the I'm a vendor for a lot of Circle K's and different businesses here in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And I look at some of the documentation that they put out, and there are signs in the back room on what to do if ICE comes into the building.
Well, I'm sure. But I'm sure that when I was there and I was out among the people a lot, I didn't see any abject fear or hesitation for being in public, for being in groups. And the people were working. Construction sites were buzzing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was mostly immigrant people. Mm-hmm.
But I think that's unique to Phoenix.
Okay.
So when you get to places that are close to the border, Yuma, Tucson, some of the places south, it's a different story. And if you go into a place like Casa Grande, which is a little bit closer to the border, maybe about 40 minutes outside of Phoenix, there's a different climate.
Politics is protection in Phoenix.
There you go.
Yeah. Good talking to you, man.
Yes, sir. Brothers, it was good talking to you. Have a blessed Saturday.
Wonderful.
And I definitely Bishop February.
Stay strong, man.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye now.
Take care.
866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. This is On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on any smart device at David G. Evans 1. Won't you like us? Give us a thumbs up on the site if you're able to. Subscribe to us. Won't cost you anything. Get those subscriptions up. We'd love to have at least 1,000 thumbs ups today. Hit that notification bell so you are on with us every time. You know, every time we upload some new content, you're right there with us. We love you to share time with us and love you to give us a call. We're looking at Tom from Fort Lauderdale. Hey, Tom.
Good morning, Bishop.
How you doing?
Pastor Nick?
Thanks for your patience today. I hope our conversations didn't bore you, man.
No, it sounds good. I'd like to hear what that guy had to say.
Yeah.
Bishop, you were talking earlier about Kentucky. Now, they got two guys been here forever, Oren and Mitch. But they just replaced their governor with a Democrat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they're waking up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People are reacting.
Yeah.
They're reacting. There's no doubt about it. We had our Newark mayor was arrested last week for trespassing on public property. Did you hear what I said? Trespassing on public property.
Now, I read something where they almost invited him across the line.
Absolutely.
And then arrested him
Absolutely.
when they allowed him to come.
But he's the mayor of Newark.
Yeah.
He was there, and he has access to every piece of property in Newark City.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like, and there were other politicians there who they did not arrest for trespassing. Mm-hmm. So it looks like they had him targeted.
Yeah.
But what they've done, if they were hoping to discourage people from supporting him,
You didn't galvanize them.
they've galvanized him.
Yep. Yep.
It's done just the opposite.
Mm-hmm. So Tom, how far are you from Orlando?
Oh, boy, at least 2.5 to 3 hours.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a good one, it's no traffic, maybe 2.5, but
Okay, so
traffic,
it's a ride for you.
hours.
It's a ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bishop, what do you think of? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What do you think about this flight from South Africa to bring You know what? I agree. They should be able to come here. My problem is every other person of color can't do the same thing.
Well, that's because you made the distinction that matters. If we are honest with ourselves, the proper immigrants are not immigrants of color. That's just the Europeans are accepted. White South Africans are accepted. Everyone else is not. We can dance around the point, but it's and they're subsidized already.
Yep.
And the immigration process was accelerated.
Yep.
So they got off the plane knowing what benefits they were going to have, where they were going to be staying, what the country was going to do for them. So you cannot ignore the obvious. And I'm interested in the level of persecution that they were suffering back at home.
Probably none at all. Did you hear Trump admit it was because they were white?
No.
So it was in it. He was doing a press conference thing, and they asked him about it. And why would he let them in? And he said, well, they're white. And then I guess he caught himself.
My president.
And it's on video. He said, they're white. And then he caught himself and said, well, we do actually accept other people, other nationalities. But you said it already. You can't clean it up now by saying we'll accept.
They're going to say he didn't say it.
It's right.
They're going.
I know. He didn't mean it that way. Yeah.
Alternate facts.
Yeah.
They. Tom.
Tom, did you see it?
Did you see that, Tom? When he said that?
See what?
When the president said they were acceptable because they're white.
Oh, yeah. I said, does he understand what he's saying? But he kind of caught himself in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then said what?
And then said, well, we accept people from different nationalities, different races.
Oh, no, he gave
They're not deporting white people. They're not deporting white people that are immigrants. They're not.
Not even thinking about it. And Bishop, this thing in the Middle East, Qatar, who were harboring terrorists, they just got over that when they decided they're going to buy 200 jets from Boeing through Trump. you can forget that money just pushed over any other fears we had about the country.
I wonder what I think perhaps some of his supporters, working people, are disconnected emotionally and circumstantially from those types of transactions. But a country that's harboring terrorists, our country should not be accepting gifts from them.
Major, not gifts.
But the other part,
major
gifts. But the other thing is that the United States is probably the biggest arms dealer in the world, and they sell arms to Qatar, who's obviously then giving them or selling them to the terrorists. So I saw somebody yesterday, talking head, who actually said that she saw no connection between tariffs and the tariffs increasing the prices of consumer goods.
Lord have mercy.
And so they asked her to explain it. And her explanation was the tariffs are on the companies. Now, whatever the companies do with the tariffs is their business. And she said it with a straight face.
Jesus.
And I think Van Jones, who I think is about as wishy-washy as they come, he said, well, wait a minute now. So the company that sells the goods is the tariff, gets the tariff. But the people that buy the goods are not affected by it. Well, it's not really, the government's responsibility, or it doesn't matter that the companies, the company, it's their business what they do with the pricing. How do you explain that away?
You can't.
Now, you know better. I know better. Pastor Nick knows better. Yeah. But there's some people who are going to buy that.
I remember when it was either Sam's Club or Walmart that got the money for COVID and then laid off thousands of people.
A bunch of them did it.
Amazing.
Yep.
Bishop, can I leave you with this one?
Go ahead.
Kennedy, they were asking him about would you give your child the vaccine for measles? And he, with his stuttering self said, yeah, but I am not the person you should be taking advice from. I'm thinking, you're the top guy.
We
cannot be taking advice from you.
He said medical advice, and he's the head.
Now, I almost cussed. Why are you?
Look, he's a DEI.
Yeah, it's true.
Didn't earn it.
That's true.
He didn't earn it. That's DEI. He didn't earn it.
That's true.
I'm shocked. This Hegseth guy with the white supremacist tattoos on his chest, he's a DEI. He's a DEI. He didn't earn it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the African-American man that was in the position before he took it, war hero, 2- or 3-star general, decorated, war experience, but he's a DEI according to them.
Yeah.
But this guy who has done nothing but been in the Army, he earned it.
Yep.
He is a DEI. He didn't earn it.
If you're not a white man, you got to buy affirmative action DEI.
Wow.
Which is insane. And then say you got to work harder. How much harder do I need to work? I got more, resume.
The previous guy was supremely qualified.
Yeah.
To be in that position.
Going back to the Joint Chiefs.
Yes.
The guy was a 4-star general.
Yes.
Not degree, graduate degree.
Yeah.
The guy was all that and then some.
Yeah.
And then the other person they let go with him was a female admiral who was equally as qualified. Then he put a guy in.
He just was in the army. He just was in the army.
Yep.
And he's got white supremacist tattoos on his chest.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Because he's loyal.
Yep. Like the guy from FBI. Patel.
Yeah.
His name? Him.
Cash.
Yeah. Yep.
They're just loyal. But at least Cash is a little more articulate.
Yeah. He looks loyal. But
yeah, he's nuts looking. But
yeah.
you know.
It's just,
Tom, how you doing, man? Everything working out for you?
Hanging in there, Bishop. Want to get to see you guys hopefully end of June. So
cool.
Come on, man.
working at it.
We're looking for you.
Hey, take care.
Have
See
a
you,
good
man.
one.
See you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
866-743-8267, 866-786-6744. Evans, this is On Point. So, the House Agricultural Committee approves $300 billion in nutrition spending cuts. $300 billion.
Coming after SNAP.
$300 billion. Tell me how the president blocks federal recovery aid to Arkansas and he won the state of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Their whole thing is, like with the food thing, send it back to the states, let the states handle it. Now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the governor of Arkansas.
Absolutely.
And she's trying to get Trump, but Trump said, I told y'all we're going to cut back on FEMA. If a disaster happens, it's on your state to cover it, not.
But the reason
Thank you.
that the federal government steps in, because the states can't afford in any way. The recovery would be so slow waiting for state funds. If there's no emergency money from the Fed, the people have either non or very slow recovery. But it gets back to what Jay said. He does not care. Not just him. They don't care.
Yep.
But this big, beautiful bill they were supposed to be putting forward got stalled. Because you said earlier, some of the politicians said it wasn't severe enough. But then you had a few that said, we can't vote for this. You're going to hurt the people that voted for us. Again, I'm back to being redundant about this. What is the mindset of these people who think they can do this stuff with a midterm coming up? Do they feel that invincible? Or are they prepared to steal those too?
I wouldn't be surprised. Because they were trying over the years to get people out of certain places that, like the election people, and put their own people in place. So if they need to contest it, their folk will stand up and say, this is wrong. We need to, quote unquote, rectify it.
I was talking to, last week, I was at the barber shop, and of course politics comes up. And I was still surprised at the number of people who voted for Trump because he was brash. Well, what other reason? After you get past his attitude, what other reasons do you have? Well, the economy. Well, you benefit from what part of the economy?
Right.
You in the stock market? You in real estate? What? No, I work every day. Okay. So what are you benefiting from? So we got around to my vote doesn't matter. And I said, so think about what you're saying. If your vote doesn't matter, why do you think they're doing as much as they can to suppress it? And it was like silence. I never thought of that. So they're appealing to, nothing but guys in the area I was in. They're appealing to, nobody sees me, nobody listens to me, but this guy who has proven he doesn't care about them. So now, with all the things that are happening, HBCUs and being disadvantaged, them literally saying they're going to wipe them out, all this other stuff. Now they're saying, that's not what I thought I was voting for. You didn't listen to him. You let him come into your neighborhood, give you a $300 check, and he put some money in my pocket, so I'm going to vote for him. So you pay $300 to have your rights taken away.
And they asked Trump, and Trump said, I don't know why they're upset with me. I told them I was going to do this. And they're upset with him because, again, they thought it was going to affect everybody else. And not them.
I have an acquaintance that he's been trying to get me to talk to him since the election, but he's been so hyper Trump, which means also hyper unconcerned for the things that directly affect my life and the people that I serve, that I don't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be a pleasant conversation. I'm trying to maintain a level of relationship with him because I know his family. But I'm not going to hold back.
Yeah.
Because he actually voted for stuff that's hurting his dad. How does that happen?
Yep.
Are we so lacking compassion that we would vote for something that hurt our parents?
Yeah. But it goes to show how fear, I was watching some video, I can't quote it all now.
Okay.
But he was talking about how fear is a currency that people use. And if you mismanage it, it'll cause a rebellion. It'll cause people to turn around. But it's also a useful tool to get people on your side quickly.
Yes.
It's Machiavellianism. It's ruling by fear.
Yes.
It'll get you a response that you want.
Yes.
But once you overdo it, people are going to rebel against it. And just like the enemy, you always say, he always goes too far.
One step too far.
They can never just say, this is it. Let's not take it any further. They go too far and people rebel against
it. It's like my friend who retired from New York, Wall Street to Florida. And he said to me, the problem with the capitalists is they're greedy. He says they keep consuming until they accidentally consume their own young.
Yep.
He said, oops, and then it's too late. So they have to damage themselves before they learn that it's not right to do to other people.
But it goes to show how elections are popularity contests.
Absolutely.
They're not based off content.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming to the close of the program. We were going to have our flea market / yard sale today, but it's been raining here. Man, that rain was coming down yesterday.
It was. Yep.
But we want to invite everyone to our service tomorrow. Of course, our virtual service is at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, Eastern Standard Time. Our live service, which you don't want to miss, is 11 a.m. That's our That's our in-house live service. God's been doing incredible things. We're in an exciting series called The Secrets to Your Success. God is opening up His Word, showing us how to navigate the opportunities that He gives us in life. Our book will be available tomorrow. Our latest book, Elevate. It's a contemporary story of David. You will enjoy it. The bookstore will be open today if you want to drop by the campus. Our bookstore is open today. I believe it opens in about 5 minutes. If you're interested in receiving news updates, what's going on around the plaza, you text BBC News to 28950. If you need some devotional, some spiritual uplift during the week, late at night, early in the morning, text BBC Elevate to 28950. We want to remind you, one of the greatest convocations in the country is coming up in June 25th to 27th. Power of God Convocation here in our church. People coming from all over the country, coming from around the world. You want to be a part. You can go online and see who is slated to speak to us, to minister to us. There's also 65 or 70 classes dealing with all major areas of ministry. You do not want to miss Power of God 2025. Register online, get in there today. I believe that early bird registration anointing is going to lift shortly, so you better get in. Now, we want to pray with you. If you have a need us to pray, you can email to us at prayer@gotobethany.com. prayer@gotobethany.com, so we can agree with you. Also, subscribe to David G. Evans 1, BBC of NJ on YouTube. Also, subscribe to our podcast platforms, DGEMS and On Point. We would love to interact with you. Well, for Pastor Nicholas Smith, I'm Bishop David G. Evans. We're having a wonderful time talking to you today from our callers from around the country. Thanks again for making the program a success. For those of you who interact with us online during the program, and Pastor Nick is responding to you, thank you for your involvement also. We want to remind you to stay strong, stay faithful, inviting you to come join us tomorrow at 11 o'clock here in Lindenwold, New Jersey. You will not be disappointed. God is doing tremendous things in our ministry. Now, for Pastor Nicholas Smith, I'm Bishop David G. Evans. For our staff, for all our callers, remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you. See you tomorrow. See you next time on Point.